Let's take a look around the Circuit of the Americas here in Austin, Texas. Let's take a look around the Circuit of the Americas here in Austin, Texas. 3.425 miles, 20 corners, 2 DRS zones, and the longest run straight on the Formula One calendar. It is a joy of a circuit. Exit the last corner then and boot it hard as you come under acceleration and under power as well. Continue on uphill towards turn number 1. 8th gear flat out before a heavy braking zone as well. Drop down, 3rd gear, tight inside line apex on the left hand side. Drop downhill now into the Mickey Mouse section of the track as well. The car meanders left then right again like Maggots and Beckett at Silverstone. Requires a little bit of lifts as well to make sure everything stays the same on the circuit. And continues to push hard as they continue uphill into turns 7 and 8 as well. Keep hard on the power, and now through the tricky bump zone of the track at turn 10. MotoGP riders complain about it, Formula One do too, before you into the hairpin then. Like turn 1, all the way down at turn 11, 2nd gear. Rise up the hill now once again down the longest straight in Formula One. DRS is at a maximum. The ERS is screaming its deployment energy as you hurtle down into the best overtaking spot on the track in towards turn 12. Brake at the 100-meter board, flick the car into the left, and then you're back on the power. 2 rights then as well do make a correct right turn into 15 and 16. Then 3 lefts back to back. You don't notice the first 2. It's the last one you need to notice coming into turn 16. 17 and 18 then, a long sweeping right-hander akin to what we see in Turkey of Formula One as well. 19 and 22 left-handers then easy to flick the car off the track and run out lap time like you do there. That's allowed this year by the stewards, but no culling elsewhere. Last corner, full throttle once again with the DRS open, and that is a lap of Austin, Texas. Hello everybody and welcome to the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. It's round 18 of the 2023 Formula One World Championship, and for the second of 3 times we are stateside. It is the Circuit of the Americas, Austin, Texas, this fantastic venue built back in 2012 which nicks the best of all the other racing circuits combined. And this 18th round, 19th scheduled on the calendar, of course, the cancellation of Emilia-Romagna. This track has elements of that section as well. Full throttle for 57% of the lap. A 1:32.029 is our fastest ever lap around here. 2 DRS zones, one on the mammoth back straight towards turn 12, one on the run uphill towards turn number 1. Uphill, 60 kilometres uphill elevation change. Pirelli bringing tyre compounds in the middle of the ranges. It's the white hard C2, yellow medium C3, red soft C4 tyre compounds. Just take this opportunity to apologise for the bit of a delay getting us on air. Here in the UK, we are in the middle of a storm that has literally flooded the commentary box exit. I sent a picture earlier on to a friend of mine, and you literally cannot believe how much the commentary box is flooded, and you can't believe how much rain and storms are all around as well. It played havoc, which is why we couldn't do MotoGP live. We had no TV pictures during the night, so I had to wait for them to get doing it this morning. You can see the second practice of MotoGP coming up on this channel after practice 1 here. We've literally just had to be running around all day, and still nothing is working. But alongside me in the commentary box is Jess Ball and Nathan Richards. Welcome to you both. Jess, championship was crowned last time out. There's nothing really to play for anymore, but Kota, like he did last year, always delivers a good race.
Yes, good evening, everyone. It's nice to have a race in the evening.
Yeah.
People don't have to worry about work or school. It's just awesome. But I do remember the Kota race last year was absolutely brilliant. Now, it was a battle that we weren't going to think we were going to see it, but we did see it between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton for the win. Who would have thought we saw that in 2022? That was fun as well. Plus, for the second time in succession, we got a sprint weekend.
Yeah, and this is the first time they've deliberately done it so that we can see how it works back to back. Rich is with us once again. Sprint sort of worked last time out actually in Qatar. It was a really good race. The main Grand Prix on Sunday sort of turned into 3 sprint races, but have you changed your feelings on these sprints yet? What's your take on them? Because you've actually commentated on them on esports as well.
Yeah, I do like the sprints. I think they're a great addition, and me and Omi were speaking earlier on before the stream that it kind of gives someone else a chance to win. There's less time for Max to, take a victory. So just say someone qualifies ahead, because we know Red Bull don't really cater their car for the sprint part of the weekend. It does give the chance to maybe McLaren, or even on some chances Ferrari and Mercedes, to try and get that little bit of an edge over Red Bull and make something work. So we'll, I think that's something we could look out for. Possibly McLaren being quite quick around here. But another thing I'm key to keep my eye on is there's a lot of upgrades coming through. Mercedes have got upgrades, Aston Martin, then key upgrades for Haas as well. They've got, it seems like a Red Bull style car coming into this weekend.
So many changes for the last 5 Grand Prix. We'll keep you up to date with all of them, of course. It kicks off here at Kota, then go to Mexico and Brazil. That's the final triple header of the year. Brazil will be our last sprint weekend as well of the 6. Then it's a 2-week break before double header. Las Vegas and Abu Dhabi round out the season as well. Green light's going to go on in about 25 seconds' time. Down in the pit lane for us is Omi, as we've mentioned. Evening, Omi. I know you're going to be hanging around for everything, but you looking forward to this weekend?
Yep, definitely looking forward to it. Austin, always a very, very good weekend. I really enjoyed it when we've come here as well in Formula 1. Always an exciting circuit, and it's definitely going to cause a bit more action as well with the sprint weekend, and it's hopefully going to be very exciting.
Green light's on, we are underway. Let's head down to the pits with Ted Kravitz.
To the heat of Texas. It's 32 degrees down here and absolutely roasting under the bright sun here with the gold stone wall outside the garage. But in one of the US's coolest cities, we've got lots to go on this practice session, and as we get into another frantic day of action with qualifying later this evening European time this afternoon in the US, and so many storylines up and down the pit lane. That man, Sergio Perez, just staying on him as he goes out, really driving to survive. Yes, I know the Netflix series has revolutionized Formula One in the US, but Perez, make no mistake about it, is driving to survive in Formula One. How well will the Mercedes upgrades go? Are Ferrari back in it, where it looked like they've been distinctly iffy, Crofty? I'm going to say it again, distinctly iffy for the last couple of races. since Singapore. But then we're going to see later on down the pit lane all the other stories play out. But yeah, we're keeping our cool down here, don't you worry about it.
Good man.
Very good to hear as well, to get our driver tracker fully operational and running as well, with the cars venturing out onto the circuit. It's going to be a very important first session, and this is the only time everybody gets to get out there. So I want to apologise for the lackiness of the stream earlier on. All systems seem to be good now, and one thing we will talk about is Daniel Ricciardo, because we're looking at Liam Lawson, who is sitting on the side of the Red Bull, sorry, the AlphaTauri pit wall. But yeah, Daniel Ricciardo, after breaking his wrist at the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort, is back. And yes, it's been 5 races where it's proved that Liam Lawson should be in Formula 1, and maybe has proved that Daniel Ricciardo, in his time, 2 races, needs to really improve if he wants the seat next year.
Yeah, I agree, but I think it's already been confirmed, hasn't it, that Yuki Tsunoda and Danny Rick are going to be in the AlphaTauri seat next season. There's only one seat available, and that is Williams. And yeah, I think Albon, it's confirmed for next year. I think it's a multi-year deal, but I think it's just the other seat. Who's going to get it? Is it Sargent or someone else? But I personally think Lawson should get that seat. But I think AlphaTauri have already confirmed that Liam Lawson's going to be their reserve driver anyway. So I think, even though I don't like her, I think Sargent may have to see again for another season. He might get one more season to prove his worth, and if he messes up, then he's gone.
I completely agree with you. And Richie, it's quite weird, isn't it, that we've ditched Liam Lawson, who scored the team's best result of the season, 9th in Singapore, and now it's sort of like, oh, it's over to you lot to say, Danny Ricciardo, do better. Yes, as Jess said, they've got seats next year, but we're hearing rumours that Perez is leaving. He's going to announce his retirement at the Mexico City Grand Prix. We're hearing that Danny Ricciardo is going to go back to Red Bull alongside Verstappen, and it's Lawson next year with him. There's so much going around. These 4 seats in Formula 1 are sort of the hot tickets, aren't they? Because next year, AlphaTauri is effectively going to become Red Bull Part 2.
Yeah, pretty much it already has been for the past so many years. But I think it's interesting with those 4 seats, well, 3 seats. I think Max Verstappen is pretty much confirmed every single year that he'll have that seat. But I think the other 3 are quite interesting, because Yuki is he's between a rock and a hard place. There's nowhere you can really go from AlphaTauri. I don't think he's good enough to promote to Red Bull, but then there's nowhere else he can really go from AlphaTauri. So I think he's going to stuck where he is, so he's just going to try and stick with it. Where I think Perez, if he underperforms these next races, he's going to be out, I think, next season. They can put Danny Rick in the Red Bull, possibly, in terms of experience. Liam Lawson will go straight into that AlphaTauri seat, I think. Because I think I couldn't see them putting him in the Williams, Lawson, because it would be taking him away from that kind of Red Bull scene if you go into a you could say, Mercedes team. So I just don't think that it would work out well, personally.
Yeah.
Speaking of Red Bull, what do you think of the fan-designed livery for this weekend?
Lovely.
I like it.
It does look good.
I like it.
Very nice. Same as Haas.
I know Megan drew something for it. I don't exactly know 100% what she did, but she came up with some form of livery. But still, I'm still annoyed that they haven't gone for the full-on livery. That, classic.
No.
Well, it's still the same Red Bull with a few little tweaks to it. They could have really.
And it's available on the F1 23 game as well. And Haas have got a new livery as well, an American-style livery.
I've been deafened by the fans already out there today.
Oh my, yeah, I can hear it.
That was
Bloody hell.
quite a lot of fans noise out there as well. Just getting their enthusiasms in. There's Franz Tost over the pit wall as well, team principal for the final 5 races of his F1 career before he hands over next year to the former technical strategist at Ferrari, who I'm not naming because many people, have a go at him, and I still do. But yeah, it's Franz Tost's last 5 races in Formula 1, which is always going to be interesting. Here's Fernando Alonso, who, after everybody looked like they were going to drop dead in Qatar, he got out of the car looking like he'd barely had a sweat. So the 42-year-old definitely straight up there and bouncing his Aston Martin around as well. Let's talk about Aston Martin. Let's talk about Lance Stroll. I want to get your opinion on this, Richie, because you weren't in the commentary after Qatar. Jess, I want to get your reaction to it now that we know the penalty for it. But Richie, Lance Stroll, both exits in Q1 in both the main quali and the sprint shootout, physically pushing his performance and physio engineer. He's been given a fine by the FIA. It's been dealt with internally by Aston Martin. But what's your take on Stroll? Is his time in F1 done, or is he going to limp through again?
I think his time in F1 is pretty much done. I think he'll get next year, and then I think that will pretty much it. But I think regarding the fine, I agree with the fine. However, I think it is a little bit over dramatised, because you can look at examples of sports like football, basketball. Some of the stuff they say and do, none of these F1 drivers have ever gone close to. So I think the reaction to what happened between him and his engineer was really over dramatised, and I think the people kind of use it as an excuse to say he should be out. I think.
Yeah.
Personally.
Jess?
Well, personally, I think what he did was not nice, but I think they overplayed that replay too much, and Stroll must have been in a heat at the moment, not gonna lie, looking back at it, that he was just gutted and all that. But yeah, I do agree with the fine as well, but I think it was overplayed, to be honest, which caused, I think, a little bit of a hate. It's a mistake. Like, you're gonna be disappointed, but Stroll needs to step up if he wants to get a seat in future years, because we have stars like Felipe Jokovic, who is desperate for an F1 seat. We've already seen that even after a year out of F1, Oscar Piastri can deliver the goods. So it shows that maybe if Jokovic gets it, maybe he could do the same if Aston Martin give him a good car.
Yeah, I think Oscar Piastri winning the sprint race last time out in Qatar was one of the best things to happen for rookies. He's put himself straight out there that he is a rookie to go forward. Right, we've got our chat back. Finally.
Hey!
This is what it's been like.
There's a lot going on in the chat, by the way, Josh.
There is. I've got it back. So hello, everybody. It's literally been having to reboot. Synthol's here, Adam's here. Can't wait to join you guys tomorrow. Have a great weekend. Adam's with us for the race this weekend. As I said, he's our version of Danica Patrick. Coffee Dixon, good day, guys. Good day. Hello, everybody. Hello to Synthol, back with us. How are you? I'm doing okay. Medical Car 2 got points. It did. I saw that on the timing screen. We did see it. Medical Car 1 and Medical Car 2 as well coming through. Lawson and Ricardo have changed into Medical Cars, apparently. No points on the board. NBL World Series is exactly 1 week. It does, doesn't it? Oh, my Fossil, hello. The crowd is huge. There weren't many people for the race 2 years ago, F1 in America. It's getting good now. Even sold out on Friday tickets, we understand as well. In fact, hang on a minute. I could just press button 3 and you can read it yourself, because the chats are now open on our main screen as well. Coming through. I forgot about that. I got that working again. So, Lawson into the Red Bull 2 seat? No, Lawson to AlphaTauri, we understand, if Perez does announce his retirement next week in Mexico. Rumour of Perez announcing retirement in Mexico was false, right? I heard not. I was hearing the same thing since, but apparently it might not be the false, so we'll keep an eye on that. What is going on with my laptop? Storm is causing nothing but problems here. I can't see the messages.
It started off sunny where we are in the southwest Finland. Then it started off to get chucking it down this afternoon.
Yeah, it's getting really bad now.
Yeah, the shop I work at got flooded this morning. Really bad.
Oh God.
Hello to Paul.
I send best wishes to anyone in Scotland.
Yeah, Mark, I've got family up there in Scotland as well. I don't know actually how they're doing at the moment. We'll have to I'll double check on that.
Paul.
As we look on. But yeah, 50 minutes to go in this session. And do you know what I'm noticing? There's a lot of bumpiness up towards turn 1. Like a lot of bumps. The cars are jolting around on them as well coming into it. So there's a lot of nasty bumps coming up to turn 2. Let's take a look then. This is
bumps.
Look, there's Ocon on the racing line. Look, down to turn 12, bumping off the track. I don't know why.
On the braking zone.
Really confusing, because this track was relayed for MotoGP at the start of the year, so we shouldn't have this many bumps, but it's on marshland, and yeah, and that's science. Yeah.
2 seconds.
Oh my God. Oh, Lando there. I think he didn't see me, but only request.
Oh.
Yeah, smooth operator nearly had a big accident with It's Friday then.
Wow.
Oh, good was that. That was really bad. Go on, Richie.
I've got a quick question. What do you all think about the possible lineup at Primo in F2 next season with Behrman and Antonelli?
Antonelli, talent, yeah.
Do you think? I think it's going to be one of the biggest lineups to look at in F2 in a long, long time.
I think it'd be Primus for the title, to be fair. Behrman already had a strong season and dominated several weekends. dominated everything.
We've still got one more race.
Yeah, that's true. Forgot about that.
Abby.
Forgot about that. That's the problem. You
Still will
forget
share
about
the
it.
favourite to win the title, though.
Abu
Yes, I
Dhabi is
think
going to be a very
definitely.
busy day.
I want
It
Vessi
is.
to win it though. I think Vessi had such a strong start. Then Monza, it kind of all fell apart.
Oh my
didn't it?
god.
Claire,
Oh, that other.
P9.
I think he didn't see me, but only request.
There's Science's radio just catching up with us finally. It's way behind. My goodness me. Let's have a go. Let's adjust that. This is what I mean. Like, literally, we are having nothing but issues today. If you're wondering if it's been a smooth sailing day, it really hasn't. Everything's gone
No.
wrong. It's not our going wrong, it's going wrong. Cynthia says, Checo got a contract though. I don't know how Red Bull could got rid of him next year as long as he finished second in the championship. Right, what's happening is Red Bull, the contract that Perez has is to drive a Red Bull car. And that is both Red Bulls and AlphaTauris. So it's just a contract to drive for Red Bull. Next year, AlphaTauri is going to be renamed and will have Red Bull logos on its car. So it will basically be a B team, as Verstappen way off the track at 19, coming into 20. So he'll get that lap time deleted. So basically, we're hearing that Red Bull, there's been, right, what I'm hearing is there has been a feud between Christian Horner and Helmut Marko.
Marko.
Yeah. And Helmut Marko wants Perez out. Christian Horner wants Perez in. So there's a bit of thing there, there's a bit of tension. I'm hearing that Marko has threatened to walk unless they get rid of Checo and put Danny Rick in. Because Marko wants Lawson in at AlphaTauri. So Perez, knowing all this, isn't good mentally and has decided that that's enough. And he's from my understanding is that he's going to announce his retirement in Mexico. That was my understanding.
I don't get it. Christian Horner is the CEO of Team Principal Red Bull. He should be the one making that decision, not Marko. And Marko must have forgotten that Perez has won races this season.
Yeah.
Without that, Red Bull wouldn't have won the constructors in Japan. So Perez has helped in some way, even though he hasn't looked as strong over the last few races.
Perez, of course, well, he hasn't won since Azerbaijan, but he's also had really
I
bad
know, but
results.
he has won.
Yeah, he
The
has
only
won.
people to have won this season is Red Bull, Piastri, and Sainz.
Yeah. So it's 1 of 4, so it's not really that big of a thing, is
Exactly.
it? It should be easily done, but I don't know. That's what I've been hearing, and that was only this morning that I've heard all of that.
Oh.
Few things.
Whose played is that?
Gasly's, I think, just really quiet from Pierre, as Max again finding the limits on the circuit, running a little bit wide. And this up into turn 1 is on board, I believe, with Nico Hulkenberg. Oh, locks up, turns in.
Oh, that helmet.
Just
Oh, that
twitches.
looks so good.
Yeah, look at that lock up on the front there, Richie, as well. It's so easy to snag that brake on the inside line, but has this new floor causing issues?
Yeah, well, they've got to learn it, haven't they? They've got to learn everything about the floor, just try and figure out what the issue is. And this is a replay with, I believe,
Alonso?
it's
Oh, it is
Alonso,
Alonso,
yeah.
Canadian helmet.
No need to
Should we
box.
say
We have an
yes?
issue front left corner, so you need to cool the brakes in a straight line. Okay, very gentle into the box. Do not use the brakes until you have to stop the car outside the garage.
Sounds like brake failure.
Brake by wire.
Yeah, something's failed on Lance Stroll's car, and it's not him this time. That's interesting.
No need to box. We have an issue front left corner, so you need to cool the brakes in
Oh,
a straight
shut
line.
up. We've
Okay,
heard
very
it.
gentle into the box. Do not use the brakes until you have to stop the car. outside the
Sometimes you
garage.
hear something on the PLC that, you know, it's all good, that we don't hear that often, but sometimes it just repeats everything we're going on. SHT says, I love that onboard. It shows the speed of the cars a little more. I'm with helmet on that one. Right, Fonzie says, Marco is the one who will be unemployed. And George says, Perez might have a good enough this year, but if Red Bull are challenged, then is it good enough? And Timo says, Richie. Timo's here for you, Richie, to come through.
Hello, Timo.
You just replied, actually. Yeah,
That
right.
was a bit of
Go on.
that was a bit of porpoising I saw from one of the Williams.
Sargent.
Turn 1.
Sargent's through the first sector, yeah. Hello, Timo. Nice to see you again. Yeah, just a little bit from Logan Sargent there coming through. As I said, it's really bumpy into that first couple of corners. If you're wondering, Sky have gone to an ad break and we don't have race control. So we don't have that audio at the moment because I could not get the iPad into the garage. It is that bad. Literally, walking into the conference, I forgot it. I'm not going back out there again because I'm wearing boots and I'm glad they're waterproof because it is literally... I was stomping through puddle of water. I was in a bath out there. It was really bad to come through. But to help us, we can cheat a little bit. Just a little bit. Just this once. We can cheat for this session. And pass over commentary to Alex Jakes, if it works.
Yeah.
Strategy, rethink the design philosophy, and rework the car in its entirety.
That's Buxton
in order
the
to
pits.
fix the problems at the rear. So with that in mind, we have new floor, we have these new side pods, the new openings, the new gullies going down. You'll see also on the side pod there the louvers for cooling just on the back of the engine cover there, a new engine cover as well, and all of this with the intention of reworking
this is
the
on Magnussen
aerodynamic
and the Haas
airflow towards the rear of the car and helping to sort out the rear tyre degradation, which has been so hideous for Haas this year. We've seen them excel on Saturdays and drop on Sundays, and Gunther said, listen, all I want to see from this is that we fix the rear tyre wear. If we can fix the rear tyre wear and keep our Saturday pace, I'll be over the moon. So far, so good. It's early days, but K-Mag currently up in P4. This man, Nico Hulkenberg, P15, but the signs immediately going out there look pretty promising down here at Haas.
Right, here's Alex Jakes.
It's encouraging stuff if it is the case. That rear tyre wear, Pietro, it has been the Achilles heel for the car, but the pace has been there over one lap, as we see Hamilton on a quick time at the moment. So does the team believe that they have fixed the problem with this update and can retain the pace that saw, for example, Hulkenberg hit the front row for a couple of hours in Canada before the penalty?
Yeah, I think the main thing is obviously if we don't have enough downforce on the car, you can produce a lap time with new tires in qualifying, but then you end up wearing the tire too fast in the race, and then you struggle even more in dirty air when you're in traffic behind other cars. That's when we struggle the most. So we're trying to fix that problem. I think if we're able to fix that, our baseline,
turn one under braking, slightly later braking we need.
That's Leclerc's radio.
His technical analyst has been running his eagle eye
Sam Collins,
over
what have you got?
they have done to the car.
I mean, it's a big and unusual place for an upgrade at Austin. So late in the season, and a lot of people are asking, why are Haas bringing such a big upgrade late in the season? Well, it's all about next season. Haas need to get their car sorted. They need to stop the car being a white and black rear tyre eater and turn it into a car that will actually work on all circuits and be able to be quick in all conditions. And with Kevin Magnussen sitting in 5th position, initially it looks like it is working for the team. But when just after this replay, we'll take a closer look at some of those technical details that Will was talking about. And I'll explain to you why Haas isn't a simple Red Bull copy.
Radio.
Yeah, the car is jumping around a lot on the streets, just for your info.
Understood.
That's Carlos Sainz then that we're hearing jumping around on the straights as well as we're just hearing on the team radio now. So Carlos having a few issues, and it is, as you said, Jess, earlier, pausing around massively into turn 1 and 2.
So it's not just Williams, and I think it's just every car.
Just for your info.
Understood.
Say again, Jess, they interrupted you.
Yeah, they had to. It's like with every car. It's not just Williams at the moment as well, but yeah.
We had this problem when we were here with MotoGP. They don't like the way the track bumps around because this track is built on marshland. So they put the tarmac down, but it's mud underneath the surface. It's clay mud. So it just moves around constantly and it reshapes itself.
So I think definitely feel a bit more front limited. Only time I'm really fighting the rear is with right. And then that upsets the rear grip.
That's Danny Rick on the radio. Yay!
Is coming now? On which corner in particular, please? Box.
I think he's coming in this lap. It's the same problem actually that this commentary box has because it's this is built on clay sort of marsh as well. So the garden, if you look at it, it just sort of goes up and down, up and down, up and down. And the commentary box, it is flat, but it's not flat to walk on. At some point, you notice there's a dip.
P1 is Hamilton with hard 37.4.
Something going on there as we ride on board with Lando Norris uphill towards turn number 1, 31.942. First time I've actually commentated on a opening practice session at Kota, I think, since 2019. And I say that because we didn't race it.
Did Megan,
Yeah.
did Megan do last year?
Yeah, did
FP1?
we race here in 21? We did, didn't we? So maybe it was 21. Yeah, so maybe 21. Because I wasn't here in 22. I was go-karting. I was doing some go-karting on an opening event on an in-track at Escape as well. So there's some brake ducts being changed for Lance Stroll. This was the issue they had. Looks like it's blown up. Ted's got news.
The caliper is off, and they're taking the front left brake disc and assembly to pieces. They've also had to check Fernando Alonso's front left brake corner as well, breaker system. And I think Alonso's is okay, although I can see some mechanics are actually doing a little bit of work. But Stroll's looks like it's going to keep him in the garage for the next 5-10 minutes at least, and hopefully not for Lance's sake even longer. So just to follow up on that brake issue that we heard on the team radio earlier, it is a problem, and they're trying to fix it as soon as possible. There you can see Fernando Alonso's mechanics doing the same. I guess it's true. I mean, if you can have a problem with the assembly of one car, it's only logical, I suppose, if it's something the way it's assembled or a design or a manufacturer, problem, that it will happen to the other car as well.
You'll know if it's a major issue when you hear the dentist drill coming out.
Yeah, did you hear that already? Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't ask me what rule number 1 of surviving F1 sprint weekends was, Crofty.
Get some sleep on a Wednesday night.
Also wrong. Anthony Jensen?
Get through practice.
Don't call it a sprint race.
No, right, sorry.
Don't use the word race, it's just sprint. A rule I intend to break this weekend.
Yes.
And in Austin.
Terminology, eh?
It's a sprint race. Oh no, I've broken that rule again.
At least we don't have to call it sprint qualifying anymore.
We do call it sprint qualifying.
Well, I
call it sprint qualifying.
It is.
Let's head down to the Red Bull pit wall, shall we? Christian Horner.
Oh God, we haven't
come
heard
on
from him in
in. How are
ages.
you?
Right.
I'm very well. How are you guys?
Well, enjoying Austin, loving life. Saw you sat in the sunshine talking to Drew Barrymore, looking like a very happy man yesterday. A lot of attention on your team. That surprised me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she managed a 2.3 second wheel change on the front right, so you never know, we might use her on Sunday.
Well, 2.3, that's half a second off McLaren. They're taking the game to you on these pit stops now. You need to buck your ideas up.
Yeah, absolutely. They did a great job in Qatar, so yeah, it's lowered the bar again, and we'll see if we can get near that in the remaining races.
So come on, Christian, be honest with us. You've won both championships now. Max could have won one championship for the constructors all by himself. Season's over. Where's your motivation for the rest of this year?
Well, these are all like cup finals for us. I mean, they're all individual races, and you're always learning. There's still P2 in the championship, something that we've never achieved previously. We've had first and third a few occasions, but never achieved first and second. So that's an objective as well. But really to make sure we attack every single one of these remaining 5 events.
Christian is Jensen. So lots of pressure on Checo then this weekend. Even more pressure because you want to finish second in the constructors. On a serious note, how is he doing? How is Checo doing?
He's doing okay. I mean, he's had a rough ride the last couple of races. But he's come here, he's done a lot of work in the sim. He's done 3 straight days in the sim. He's prepped really hard for this event, and it's a track he's always gone well at. If you look at his qualifying average and his race pace here, it's been a track that he has always performed well at. So he just needs a solid weekend, and hopefully he can have that here.
Christian, hi, it's Anthony here. We've seen a lot of cars so far suffering with a circuit that looks like it's bumpier than last year. Has that affected your drivers out there and the car setup at all? I mean, from our side, it looks that way, at least.
Yeah, for sure, you can see it's bumpy and it's working the cars pretty hard. And the drivers' comments, they haven't actually commented on that or complained about it. I think they're just focused on, where the performance limitations are to, try and find some more pace. So, and of course, the circuit's evolving very quickly. It's ramping up with every lap almost.
And just finally, Christian, we come from Qatar to Austin. It's going to be as hot in terms of air temperature here, but not near as humid as we found it on the Sunday night. As a team boss responsible for the welfare and safety of your crew and your drivers, do you worry about racing in the conditions that we had in Qatar?
Well, look, Qatar was quite unique. I mean, even on the pit wall, it was hard work out there. But it was a one-off, I think, as well. In that, next year we race there a lot later. I think we're about 6 weeks later there, so it should be cooler. It wasn't good to see you know, the drivers not in good shape at the end of the race there. Particularly the taller drivers seem to suffer a bit more. But I think the FIA are reacting to it, and they're taking measures that they want to try and introduce.
I mean, the cars are heavy enough, but can you put like an air conditioning type thing into a car these days, or not? Oh, I think, Christian, sadly, you've turned into a bit of a robot, and I think we've lost our connection.
You stay safe on the pit wall there, Christian.
We'll leave it, and we'll try and fix that for later. But there are, I think the FIA are looking at what can we do anything to give a bit of relief to the drivers.
Well, here's an idea that I've got as well. What IndyCar do? Get them in for aero cooling into the helmet. Let's see what they think.
Everybody felt like he had to stop, but it really, after about 15 laps, you know, you couldn't talk as much to the team because you just couldn't get the words out because your throat was so dry. But it was the humidity that was the major problem in Qatar.
Yeah, I mean, I've driven in some incredibly hot races here, actually, in Austin myself in 2014, I think it was, in sports cars in September. It got incredibly humid, hotter than it is today by far, and that's the most brutal race I've ever experienced in my career. And yeah, I mean, you don't want to think about having to stop and get out the car, but you would happily take that option if it was handed to you. If it was just a practice session you're out in or something, or just driving around for fun, it suddenly doesn't become fun anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know, these are athletes, they're trained to sustain these kind of temperatures that we saw in Qatar. But I think the FIA will look into it, well, they have looked into it, and they're going to try and learn from it. I don't think there's anything they could have done really on that day.
Right, okay, let's go back up to us, because we've all commentated here on the IndyCar series. We've all seen it. In IndyCar, because they've got the closed, well, sort of the aero screen, they have air intakes from the side of the car that gets filtered through a tube directly on top of the driver's head. Provides them with some cool oxygen, keeps the head cool and everything. Why can't Formula 1 do the same? Because, yes, it's open cockpit still, even with the halo, but the temperatures inside the car get hot. So if there's anything to cool the driver down, is that an option? I don't know who wants to go first there.
Well, I was going to say, but I'm just going to replay first of Albon in towards turn 11 and
yeah,
a little bit deep in towards the corner. But I suppose they're trying to learn the track a little bit more now. And at Williams, we know it's not always the nicest car to drive, especially under braking. There's a lot of low downforce on that car, which I don't think will make it very quick around here. And that's just Kevin Magnussen. I believe will be heading out of the pit. But as we're speaking, yeah, I just don't think it will work on F1 yet, because the car design would have to change, which they're not going to do now. Maybe in the future they could look at it for future car, future changes in regulations. But I think, yeah, they're not going to do it until then. I don't think. There'd be no point now.
Let's head down to turn 1. Martin Brundle has made his way up.
Up at turn 1. A decent climb up here. There's always a spectacular view. Man, of course, this hill as such. It's not the normal topography of this area, but it's put in the people who built the circuit and designed the circuit, and Herman Tilke's gang to have a challenge. The thing that really stands out to me here is that I can smell the cars. You know, their most powerful sensors, or certainly one of them, is the power of smell, and where they're hitting the ground, and where they're bouncing a lot, and they're obviously scuffing the underneath of the car. What's also impressive is how quickly, once they hit the first bump and the suspension gets excited, is how quickly all of the damping, the control, and being squashed by the downforce as well, is keeping the cars under control as they pile in to the foot of this hill. There's a pedestrian and vehicle tunnel underneath that approach up to turn 1, which is why you get it, like I remember Daytona on the super speedways, the ovals in America, but wherever you put a tunnel under a racetrack, tends to eventually give you a problem or two. So I think that's what starts the movement of the car. But by the time the drivers get up here to the turn-in point, it's the cars are completely under control. I haven't seen a locked brake in here yet. They're so good now. The teams have got so on top of brake locking that it's quite unusual to see. The drivers get it all slowed down and pull down the gear shifts. It's subconsciously they're making their downshifts. It's not something you have to think about. So cars, yeah, they look good. Actually, I have to say the livery on the Red Bull looked very good out on track. The fan-driven livery change looks pretty good, I must say. And I really can't tell any difference between all 10 teams out there. You know, they approach, they brake hard, the cars look stable, they pick up the throttle gently on the top, not wanting to put too much torque demand in and loosening the rear wheels. And as they head down the hill into turn 2, they hug the track because that's where the bump is least difficult, and it also gives them a little bit more room to move if the car does take a jump. As this glorious Ferrari then exits the pit lane, Carlos Sainz, and goes over the top of the crest with 2 drivers on hot laps chasing him down the hill. Back to you.
Okay, well, thank you very much. It's just me and Jess now for a little bit. It's a preview of what we're going to have tonight in F1 Academy because Richie's had to go and Omi's disappeared. So I'm just setting up for Jess as a solo cat.
I think Omi disappeared as soon as Christian Horner started speaking.
I would have done the same. And then Christian went as well. We'd like to point out that we might be having issues with the systems. That's why we're losing people today.
Ah, yeah, because Richie said he had to dash.
Yeah, I think it's coming through anyway, isn't it, with all this technology and all the storms as well. We're losing people. Anyway, here's Ocon. What's happened, Jess?
Right, so I guess it's turn 11 and 12, it looks like, that he's coming towards. Oh,
Yeah.
oh no, it's start-finish straight. It looks similar.
There we go. I've got the cameras back on now. It was just me and you.
Hello.
So, a little bit of an error. 26 minutes to go, though, and the only free practice session they get before qualifying. Hamilton's top on a 1-4.
Whoa! That's Piastri.
That's weird to happen at the top of the hill. A huge snap. And it was lucky it didn't go into the barrier there, Jess. That happened to Vettel a couple of years ago, didn't it?
Oh, Vettel. I miss Vettel.
I do. Let's hope he'll come back soon.
I hope he does as well.
What happened to Piastri?
Piastri currently 10th at the moment in timings.
I think he got caught on the exit curb.
He did.
Yeah, and he just spat him.
I think we'll get a replay at some point as well, but...
Just having a look on the timings, he's out there on 9-lap-old medium compound tyres. So he's just come out of the pit lane, actually. Right, here he is again. So it's exit turn 8. There's a nasty bump at the top there.
And he's hit the bump.
Oh. That is amazing car control, because it hits the bump, as you say, and then it drags him off the curb onto the grass, and he's rally crossing, and he keeps it out. What car control?
It just shows the amount of great experience that he's had already in that car and the amount of talent that he has.
Left, right, left, right, left, right, just constantly over it. Watch this, goes over the bump, right, left, right, left again, and go again.
That's like Tokyo drifting.
It is.
2.0.
Fantastic on the F1 game. Tom Stallard is impressed with that one, or he's race engineer on the pit wall. Famous, of course, Tom Stallard, been in McLaren for around about 20 odd years. Yeah. Created that alongside Carlos Sainz, and it looks like Lance Stroll is done in this first practice session. How much more bad luck can you get? 2 sprint weekends in a row, a crucial first practice session, problems with the car costs him vital track time, Jess. This happened exactly the same in Losail, and it's happened again now. So this is really bad luck. He's not going to get through Q1 again, is he?
No, and we got both Aston Martins at the bottom as well, so hopefully Alonso sets a good lap time on those hard compound tyres, I believe. Sainz goes 10th fastest currently at the moment. Is it going to rain this weekend?
I was just thinking the same thing. I don't think it's predicted, but with Austin, you can never quite tell, can you, with the Circuit of Americas?
We don't have time to do a decent run of sustainable laps now because the changeover took too long.
tracks. Okay, so we're just being told there by Magnussen that they can't do any more time attack laps. They've got to go for simulation laps.
I think that's what quite a few people could be doing because they're not going to have enough time to do some race trims.
Just check. Oh, Ted?
Around the rear suspension necessitated having the engine cover off.
Dry
but,
weekend,
I think
Jess.
He's soon to be out if he's not back
Thank
already.
you.
Has Piastri, I'm just wandering my way back to McLaren, has Piastri made it back to the pits or did he carry on?
He's carried on. He's carried on. He's carried on. He's just down the line.
Oh, he carried on.
At this moment in time, so he did carry on. So they've obviously seen no damages yet. Ted, thank you very much indeed.
Ted's down there then in the pit lane as Alonso continues on. His middle sector time as a 39.6. First sector was a 26.622. So good first sector, bad second sector for Alonso. This Aston Martin does not look like it's a very nice car to drive as he comes out the last corner. He will remain in 19th position, not improving at all. 1.8 seconds down on Lewis Hamilton, who tops. Now, what's happened there? I know they're running on hard tyres, and Alonso's done 7 laps now, but this is shocking.
But Lewis is on hard, and he's fastest.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse for Aston Martin. Aston Martin have been looking good at the start of the season. We thought, yay, Alonso hype train, he's going to win a race. And then I think we had some questions. I think Tom Dillon was saying about the development of the car, and he was right.
Yeah.
Because they haven't developed as much as the other cars. That's why they're near the bottom. No offence, Aston Martin, but, you know.
Toto Wolff's back after his knee operation. That made him miss 2 races. Just double checking, yeah, Japan and Qatar. Senpai Konito Checo.
We love you, Checo, probably.
I believe so.
I don't know.
Hard to translate Portuguese as they come through. Is it? No, it's Spanish, isn't it?
I don't know. It is quite similar. I'll ask my dad that later on, actually.
Yeah, because I think it's Brazil speak Portuguese, Mexico speaks Spanish.
Yes.
And then you've just
that's
sort of,
correct.
then you've got French-Canadian, and then you've got American, which is, they claim English.
Canada, there's one half of Canada that speak English, and there's one half of Canada that speaks French.
Yeah, so it's really weird this side of the world, isn't it, for different types of languages and cross-contamination. It's fascinating to dive into it all. And just the cultural changes here in America as well, with things like hood isn't the bonnet, it's, different. It's all weird.
But we know that Adam doesn't find those things weird because he's used to it.
He does, and he'll be with us he'll be with us tomorrow and on Sunday as well in the commentary team.
Hey.
As Jess and I think Megan and myself will be around for F1 Academy all throughout the weekend. And I know, Jess, you're doing some racing as well, also as well.
Yes, one hub has been moved, the timings have been moved to, because obviously we got Austin at 8 PM in the real life, so my race starts at 4 and my commentary starts at 6, so they basically moved a couple of hours earlier, so we're avoiding the F1 clash, so we can all still see the F1 race.
Mighty good idea.
Yeah, so I will be a bit late to the build-up.
Not to worry at all for the build-up. We'll all get it sorted.
Oh, was that?
That was
Which Ferrari was that?
I'm looking. I think it's Sainz who's going slow at that part of the track because Leclerc's still with Russell. So I think Sainz is having a little bit of a moment. But Lando Norris has gone top with a 137.256. And to give me and Jess a bit of a break, we're going to throw it back over to Alex Jakes because that's the only way we've got trackside audio at the moment.
Let alone when he got down to the braking zone at 12.
Pretty greasy. Do we know what the track temp is?
Yeah, 40 degrees.
Oh, that's hot.
It's on the warm side for sure. Those Pirellis getting tortured there. All the engineers.
Suggest trying left toggle on for the next lap. Left toggle on for the whole lap.
No, radio is not working. Repeat again.
Yeah, left toggle on for the next lap. Left toggle on for the next lap.
That's Fernando.
Copy.
Yeah, I don't even want to call it the midfield anymore. It's just the behind Max field.
Yeah, that has been the case. We've seen plenty of shocks. And Tasso, you're going to be joining us on the post-race show, I hear, on Sunday. So
Oh, really?
Treat for you. That's my information. And the man you'll be presenting with is Mr. Will Buxton down in the pit lane.
Thank you so much. Here is your man, Mr. Daniel Ricciardo, making his return to Formula One in the top 10. Yuki Tsunoda in the top 4. How is that possible? Well, I'll tell you why, guys. AlphaTauri have a huge raft of upgrades this weekend, and I'll show you some of them because it starts right about here. It flows on those floor fences at the front, all the way through the floor here, the edge of the floor body itself, so underneath the car, then running all the way down the back towards the rear here, the engine cover. We've got upgrades there. Just the length and breadth of this car massively changed, massively upgraded for this weekend. AlphaTauri taking the fight in those final 4 positions in the Constructors' Championship, which remains so tight with just 5 Grand Prix to go. This currently, believe it or not, and this is, as you say, it's not about the midfield, it's about the who's behind Max Verstappen World Championship right now. P10 in the Constructors' Championship, just a couple of points to show for their entire season, and yet now both drivers in the top 10. This heavily upgraded.
Yeah, what was more evident then was ride. Ride was quite bad, just down the straights and everything.
Copy that. In terms of balance, you think we went too far with bar change?
Ricardo radio.
Box.
And box for Danny.
Yeah, it seems so. Yep.
Agreed.
Okay, box confirmed.
I believe it was, in an Aston Martin car, and a driver who's got experience of racing here in previous championships, as Fernando Alonso, who was airborne at that part of the circuit 1 year ago when he was crashing into the back or hitting. I don't think I'll categorise it as crashing into the back, but it was a collision between Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso. Right, we heard Will talking about the updates to the AlphaTauri. Guess who we're going to for a deeper dive? It's your man, Sam Collins, at the Media and Technology Centre.
Thanks, Alex. Actually, the first update, it's not really an update, it's just something I noticed when the AlphaTauri was just out on track with Daniel Ricciardo at the wheel. We saw it quite clearly here. Now, take a look at his front brake ducts here on the number 3 car. We heard the guys just talking about how hot it is at the track, but look around the front brake ducts on both sides. You've got that little bit of silver tape in the front brake duct cooling scoop, which means the brake ducts are actually too big for this track in these conditions. The front brake ducts on the AlphaTauri are overcooled, so the tape on the brake duct means that there's too much cooling on the front brakes, so they're having to tape it up. You so often see that at cold circuits, but in these conditions that's a bit of a surprise. One little detail of the car as well that Will didn't really pick up on because there was so much to talk about. These little bulges around the inner section of the front suspension where it picks up on the monocoque of the car. These have all been modified. Now, this is something Mercedes sort of started a trend for earlier in the season. Alfa Romeo have done the same. AlphaTauri have gone for a slightly softer approach on it as well. And again, it's just about tuning that airflow all around the car. Huge amount of effort on this white and blue car. Will it work? Well, seems to be, doesn't it?
Nice to hear as well that anything is working at all for the AlphaTauris at the moment. They need it to work. They need to have their car back up and having a better performance. And Sainz goes fourth for 137.942 there, Jess. Ferrari slowly getting back into it, but McLaren continuing their pace from Qatar. Similar track temperatures of 40 degrees, and Lando's top by a tenth over Hamilton, but medium to hards. No one really... Oh, actually, Sargent and Albon just going out there now on softs.
I've got a question about Norris. When is he going to get his first F1 win? It's just been so long.
It should have been last time out, but...
Exactly.
They fumbled that one, McLaren, didn't they? And in both the sprint and the main race.
It's from very light. Into the low speed.
Very light.
And a bit of understeer into the high speed.
Perez talking about understeer as well.
Martin Brundle.
Now to turn
Martin
18.
Brundle's at turn 18, I think.
It's a downhill corner, turn 18, 2 to go towards the end of the lap. It's modelled after turn 8 in Istanbul, except that's a left-hander, but a sort of a relentless right-hander, 16, 17 and 18, as something will pop into view, hopefully, anytime soon. Underneath that amazing tower that's 70 metres high on the platform, you can see that overlooks that as Carlos Sainz comes through. The car just sort of nodding on the front a little bit, dipping its nose across the bump, but still remaining quite static and stable in many respects. So what's I talked about, I could smell the cars. up at turn 1. I'm listening here, actually, because it's quite interesting. All the Mercedes-Benz engine cars, Mercedes, surprisingly enough, the McLaren, the Aston Martin, of course, they're really singing. It's a really high pitch to the exhaust note. Whereas when the Red Bull comes through here, it's a much lower tone, like they're not revving it so hard. Or maybe, the exhausts are all mandated to come out the back in a certain way near the rear wing. But it's quite interesting to me how different they sound. And then the Ferrari engine cars, like the Haas, like the Ferrari, have quite a shrill noise as well, but not as much as the Mercedes-Benz. So maybe they're just not pushing them quite as hard on the revs. But the other thing I'm listening for here is down there near the 50-meter board. Can you see that on the side there, Lee? That's a good reference point. And the difference between the cars, I said to you I couldn't really see a whole lot of difference between the 10 teams up into turn 1. Here, it's quite marked. We don't know their fuel loads, of course, and tyre life matters, and how brave the drivers are, how confident they are that their car will stick through the ever-tightening turn 19. But I would say where they're lifting off the throttle, preparing for that corner, varies by up to 50 metres. 50 metres, which is 10 lengths of a Formula 1 car. And I'm surprised by that, but I think it is dependent on exactly what phase they're in terms of the running, the tyres, the fuel, as I said, in-laps, out-laps, what have you. But it's quite dramatic, the difference there, as to when the drivers are getting out of it and believing they can carry that amount of speed into the corner. So, all of my senses are working out here. Crofty, back to you with your eyes.
Well, what I'm going to say is Alexander Albon is about to come out the last corner, fastest sectors 1 and 2 of anybody, and goes fastest by 7/10 of a second. It's a 1:36.535 on the soft tyres, Jess. Definitely the biggest improvement out there for anybody on those soft tyres. 7/10 quicker than the McLaren of Norris. Jess, on mute.
Sorry about that.
My fault as well.
I think Norris was on mediums when he set his lap.
Yeah, Norris is going brand new. No, same old mediums done. 12 laps on those tyres. New softs for Sargent, Joe and Bottas too. Go on.
Yeah, I think Norris is going out probably on softs most likely. So it's going to be, I think, all about the glory runs at this point around this track. I love driving around this track in F123. It's just lovely elevation change. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's great. We always get good racing at COTA, both in real life and in league racing. So I hope this week works as a sprint, just like Qatar, because Qatar was brilliant.
It really
apart
was.
Apart from the hot weather.
And the Pirelli tyres on the Sunday sort of spoiled it all. But it was a great race. It was a great race.
Good.
It was a confusing race. It was one of the most confusing I've ever done in my life. And I left the commentary box feeling drained. And then
tyre grip was around turn 6.
Yeah, I can't remember if
Albon.
Tyre around turn 6.
Yeah, I can't remember if I then went to play Dead by Daylight.
Target 0 on the dash. Drop from naturals.
Albon the fastest then, 1:36.535. Norris second, Hamilton third. It is technically a Brit 1-2-3, but Albon races under the Thai licence. He's, of course, Thai Brit. Have we been to Buriland yet for MotoGP? No, we haven't, have we? No, that's coming up.
No.
Can't remember where we've gone and where we haven't been yet. I think after...
How many more rounds of MotoGP have you got left?
I think we've got Malaysia. I think after this it's Thailand, Malaysia, Qatar, Valencia. 4, I think, after Australia.
Okay. Yeah.
Is Thailand next weekend? I think Thailand's next weekend. I don't know where we are. I'm just sort of rocking up each week and seeing what's going on. It's that type of day. And by the way, if you've just joined us, it is news that if you want to, you better make sure you join us tomorrow morning. 5 a.m. we're on air.
Lando, just experiment with lines through turn 13 to turn 16.
Experiment?
Yeah, we're on air.
Thanks for interrupting us.
Yeah. We're on air at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, British Summer Time. Because of torrential rain expected on Sunday, they have moved the MotoGP Grand Prix, so the full 27 laps, that's tomorrow morning. So on Saturday, we're going to qualify and race. Yeah, I know. And then on Sunday, it's the sprint race after the Moto3 and Moto2 races. So
just experiment with lines through turn 13 to turn 16.
So all that's happened is that the Tissot Sprint and the Grand Prix have swapped places. So that's all you need to worry about. But tomorrow is the main Grand Prix. Sunday, weather permitting, is the main race. Which means I'm going to get up or stay up for nothing. Go on, Jess.
How are you how is the by the way, how long is F1 Academy qualifying? Is that half an hour?
I believe so, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I just hope it doesn't get red flag, because otherwise you're going to be screwed for MotoGP.
Yes, I'll be running from one box to the other in the same thing. But it's sort of good, because then I can go to bed at 1:30 and get up at 4:30 do the Grand Prix, go back to bed.
And do all your fun stuff.
Sorry, I got a frog in my throat there. I went to talk and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So, yes, exactly, yeah. Go back to bed, and then after the Grand Prix for MotoGP, wake up, get everything sorted for sprint day, and, go from there.
I'm excited to cover F1 Academy as well. That's going to be a lot of fun. I've been dying for it to be streamed, and it's finally getting streamed.
Yeah.
Only problem at the moment, no live timing.
Yeah, which means I can't actually set up the OBS file yet. It's all there ready, but I can't set it up because there's nothing there. If you want to catch up with all the F1 Academy races so far this year, every year we do the playlist for every series we cover. We have created a F1 Academies playlist on the JB Motorsports YouTube channel.
Slight shift in wind direction as well, Max.
And we've what we've done is all of F1's videos.
Although it is shifting around slightly, just keep your eyes on the flags.
Just going to shut up. Yeah.
Still quite light.
Yeah, so all of the F1 race highlight videos that they've put out through the year, we've added them to our playlist. So basically, because we haven't been able to cover the entire year, we're only covering this last round, you can go back and watch.
It's streamed.
Exactly, yeah. So now it's streamed, we can do it. And after this weekend as well, we'll include the race highlight video. So it's footage too.
Yeah.
And then next year as well, we're dropping the pre-show and the post-show for F1, the weekend preview stuff, and we're going to have the F1 YouTube channel in the playlist instead. So sort of like that. So it all sort of just... We focus on the practice sessions and the qualifying and the races, so that we do the races with all the build-ups, and then just trying to streamline as much as we can. And the weekend preview for this weekend, by the way, will be available tomorrow.
He's on an outlap with new soft, I believe, so he will push next lap.
Right, that's enough schedule chat. Jess, we've got times on the board with 6 to go. Verstappen's top 1:35.912. Smoked Albon's time, and Magnussen's gone P2 as well.
Hulkenberg P4. So I remember that Haas has bought some upgrades as well. It seems to be working, but we haven't seen lap times on the soft for all drivers. Hamilton is on his out lap right now. Perez is on soft. Russell goes third, but still quite slower than Max Verstappen.
Yeah, Norris, Alonso and Piastri are the only ones not on soft and Stroll obviously, but he's in the pit lane. So they're the only ones not on soft compound. Everybody else has now gone out on softs for the, as Jess said earlier, the glory runs. And Perez now out of turn 11 down towards turn 12 with the DRS open. Looks good. It is packed. Absolutely packed. Goatlove says Mexico is next weekend, right? Yes. And then
triple header.
Yeah. America, Mexico, Brazil. We're just doing the Americas. And then for some reason, we've got a 2-week break before we go to Vegas. Surely the common sense would have been to, I know, annoying, but to do a 4-week in a row. Or what would that be? Triple header, quadruple header.
Or have a week break between USA and Mexico, and then have Brazil and Vegas. Or it might be bad, really.
Yeah. They could have worked.
Travel-wise.
My seat gets pretty hot on the front end of it.
Understood.
Perez goes second, 3/10 off the pace exactly of...
My seat gets pretty hot
Verstappen.
on the front end of it.
Charles goes second. Charles actually moves within a 10th and a half. Not bad there from Charles, but they can't put any water in the car. It's not allowed. Fernando Alonso asked the same thing during the Qatar Grand Prix. you can't have water in the car. It's additional fluid. Montoya got done for that in about 2005 in Bahrain, I think. The hottest F1 race on record, that was. Somewhere, I think, 39, 40 degrees.
We're hitting the front quite high.
This is...
Sure. I think we need a bit more air bounce here.
That's Hulkenberg radio, but...
Try another up percent.
Copy that, Nico. So we'll box now for flap adjust.
Boxing for flap adjust, I got over those radios there. This is what's
Hamilton!
this is what's really shocking me, Jess. He's fast in sectors 1 and 2. Hamilton might just do something here.
I think 1:39.57. No, he lost in the final sector.
Got held up
Still
by
quite close.
Piastri. Yeah, got held up by Piastri. A lot of bumps.
Mercedes have pace? Question mark.
Mercedes have pace. Could this be a track where Lewis Hamilton has won at several times before? Could this be somewhere where we could finally see him win for the first time since 2021? Lewis is currently...
He always won last year.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's true. He did almost win last year. As there's Hamilton passing Russell. And is this where he made a mistake? Ah, there's the mistake, Jess.
Yeah,
Exit turn
that's
12.
why he lost that.
Did he make a second one into 19? Yes, he did.
He could have gone faster, way faster.
Lewis or
And then he got
Beckler?
held up by Piastri a little bit.
Yeah.
Not that much.
I reckon that's genuine pace for the Mercedes then.
Yeah, because Russell is like... the Hasses are looking good as well. Both of them. Williams.
Yeah. Just thinking, where's Norris gone? 15th, Piastri 19th.
Norris hasn't done a lap on soft though.
I think
Piastri's on mediums as well.
The one problem with this is the fact that they're not going to have any data going into...
They're not going to have any data going into the weekend in terms of qualifying runs.
So, and this qualifying session, it sets the grid for both the... it sets the grid for Sunday's race. So it's not sprint qualifying. That's tomorrow. This is the big one. And Piastri sliding around at the exit of turn 20. How many... He's done... Oh, hang on a minute. 10, 19. He's now done 20 laps on those medium compound tyres. So he's done a full distance on them in the last hour. So they've got
I wonder
good
if they're
pace.
concentrating on race pace.
I think they are. We saw this back in Qatar and the last sprint, actually, of course, in Spa. McLaren go well
And
on
they
sprints.
won.
Yeah, they did. Second in Spa for Piastri, victory in Losail. McLaren's really excel in sprint races.
They do.
So
is there a sprint in Brazil?
There is, yes.
Oh my God, there's so many sprints in a row. Do we know which ones are sprints next year?
Not just yet, no. Have you refreshed TV pictures?
Oh, right.
This is Norris into the braking zone at turn 11. Yeah, we locked up and went straight on, actually.
Yeah, I've got to say, if they're doing sprints for next year, bring it back to Qatar, because that was brilliant.
I agree with that, but Qatar's the second to last race, of course, and they're always reluctant to put them sprint races towards the end of it if it affects World Championships. But it did affect the World Championship last time out, so I think that worry's now gone. But
yes.
I think I'm happy with what we've got with sprint races where we are. Where do we have them? Baku didn't work. I don't think Baku
Yeah, I think
worked.
Baku was the only one that didn't work.
Yeah. So I would.
All the others worked fine.
I think it works at Imola as well. It worked at Imola.
It does work. It does work in Imola, yes.
So
it's good in 22. I'm trying to find out what. So we have one at Baku. We have one at Austria. We have one at Belgium and Qatar. And we still got two more at Kota and Brazil.
We've never had a sprint
How
race.
was Austria's like? That was a bit.
Austria's was okay. I think the great ones was Qatar and Brazil. They're the ones that we got like wow.
Yeah, Brazil last year was brilliant.
Austria was a wet race, if I remember correctly. Same as Spa.
Oh yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Flags out, by the way. Session's over. There's a couple that could be improved upon.
You just bring sprint races to tracks where you can overtake on.
Yeah.
Not Baku.
So I would put sprint racing at
Silverstone.
Yeah.
Silverstone's the place you can overtake at.
I would put the 6 sprint races, I'd put them at Imola, Silverstone, Austria,
Brazil, Qatar,
and
if it works well this weekend, then probably Kota.
If not Kota, Monza, because Monza actually that was all right.
No, not Monza.
Oh, did that not
Monza's
work?
gonna be hell.
All right, maybe Saudi Arabia then. That might be quite funny. Saudis, that might be quite funny to see that. Or have a sprint to start. No, don't have a sprint to start the season. MotoGP tried that. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
No.
Russell across the line then. He's P6 and stays there as Albon doesn't get a lap time, and Sainz will be the last one to cross the line. Leclerc stays second, and Sainz is across the line now and stays in 8th position. That's it then. Verstappen by a 10th to Leclerc. Hamilton, Perez, Magnussen the top 5 from the first practice session here. Well, the only practice session they get for the United States Grand Prix at Austin, Texas. Qualifying later though for the Grand Prix. 9:45 coming away. It's about 2 hours time.
Hopefully Josh T will join us.
Yes, hopefully. He'll be with us. Had to dip out. Richie and Omi too had to dip out. Long day. So I'm surprised we got to, from the difficult start we had, I'm surprised we got to the end of that stream without any issues. Because the start was not great.
No, but we got it. We got through.
So they're going to do their practice starts. Max has gone back out onto the hard tyres, by the way, Jess. So he did 3 laps on the softs, came back in, and he's gone back on to the 18-lap tyres of hards. He did to
start on them on Sunday.
That's what I'm thinking, because he's going to do a practice start with them, isn't he? So
yeah,
that's the wrong.
That's going to give the other teams some ideas.
You don't get a practice start after this. This is the only chance you get to line up on the grid and do a start. Hamilton's going to do it on hard tyres as well. In fact, a lot of the field are, Jess. Only Leclerc, Magnussen, Sainz, Tsunoda and Bottas are going to start. Oh, hang on.
Is it only one driver per team that's allowed to do it, though?
No, everyone can do the practice starts.
All right, okay. Where does that get the only one driver per team can start it then from?
I think maybe testing.
Last year.
Yeah.
Testing.
So they're completely through. Max Verstappen continues on from domination, of course, at Qatar with this. He's going for victory number 50 of his F1 career this weekend in Austin.
And George Russell and Lando Norris' 100th race this weekend.
Now, I've got it down for George Russell as 98, which means last time out was 99. Why is that? Did he not start a race?
He started a race. Lando and George have done the same amount of races.
So, okay, so it's 100 each. I'll update that later.
Well, that's what WTF1 has said.
Yeah, because I can't remember if George... Oh, there's a lot of traffic for Tsunoda there.
Because George is not... Hamilton's missed the race, but not George.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We did. Well, it is a Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bro, what the F?
Oh, this is Pierre Gasly into the pit lane, changing over to hard compound tyres. But I just want to point out, fantastic helmet he's got this weekend for fellow Frenchman as well, Francois Sever, who was killed 50 years ago at the United States Grand Prix at Watkins Glen in the Friday practice. Wonderful tribute to have his helmet this weekend for Pierre Gasly.
It does look nice, doesn't it? He has good respect for his countrymen, and he just shows pride in everything as well. And yeah, Gasly didn't have a good weekend in Qatar. Maybe this weekend could be the shining point. But here are the results, Josh, from practice 1.
Max Verstappen tops the session then from Charles Leclerc second. Lewis Hamilton finishes in third. Sergio Perez goes fourth. Kevin Magnussen fifth. George Russell is sixth. Alexander Albon seventh. Carlos Sainz eighth. Nico Hülkenberg ninth. Pierre Gasly rounds out the top 10. Logan Sargent is 11th. From Esteban Ocon 12th. Yuki Tsunoda 13th. Danny Ricciardo 14th. Lando Norris 15th, Zhou Guan Yu goes 16th, Bottas 17th, Alonso 18th, Piastri 19th, and Lance Stroll once again in a sprint practice session doesn't get any running with a car issue, not his fault. Jess, going forward, this is going to be a really crucial qualifying session. I think we all know Stroll probably won't get out of Q1, but the biggest thing as we lose TV pictures, who on earth are we going to see going through for the top pole positions? We've got Red Bull looking strong. We've got Ferrari and Mercedes still looking strong. It's anybody's guess after first practice.
That's the thing about having only one practice during the sprint weekend. It's not enough to gauge on who we think is going to do well, and that means it could be unpredictable as well. So that's going to be exciting. But yeah, qualifying at around about 9:30 UK time, of course, and that's going to be deciding the grid for Sunday's race, which will be at 8 o'clock UK time, which I'm really excited for.
It's going to be
someone's just joined the Discord.
Omi?
Hello, Omi.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. What did you make of that session?
Yeah, very, very interesting session. Obviously, the major moment being Oscar Piastri on the road, but luckily that was all right for him. Looking interesting, I think Ferrari could be in the mix. So can Mercedes, McLaren. Also, with a different plan. So let's see what they can do, and maybe they can set themselves up, hopefully, for a good sprint race as well. Tomorrow, the sprint day, obviously the sprint shootout, and then the sprint race. So yeah, it was an interesting FP1, but that's all we get, and then we're going to be straight into qualifying in a few hours' time.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Richie, as well. We'll be back then, 9:45 for coverage of qualifying. After that's F1 Academy. And then we're into the MotoGPs as well from Australia. Busy day, busy weekend. We'll see you later. We're off for some food. Bye-bye.